Thanks a lot for Sami for having invited me here. I wish you all the best, really, and we are happy to. I'm really happy and ready to collaborate with your center. I know that we have already things that we are discussing, and it's always a pleasure for me to come to Munich. I love this city. I have most of my friends here and colleagues, so then it makes it exciting. Thank you also for allowing me to tell me, I was hesitating between talking of what is my research about. Sorry, Tamim, I will not speak about multi-contact planning at all, not about my project with Airbus at all, not any other project with industries, and I would speak about a vision. Okay, a controversial one, but since you are all here, I would really encourage you and even beg you to criticize me as much as you can. Okay, so what this talk is about, I think all the talks that we have starting and we have seen this morning are about the quest of the human for augmentation or substitution. I don't know why, but since we have been put on Earth, we have started to try to master the nature and start to find ways to ease our labor, to also feed our appetite, not only for food, but also for knowledge. This is also what is driving us. So we are curious, and the more we find, the more we want to find more. And that's interesting. If you see, so what we have been doing since we are here, it's trying to find means to enhance our intellectual properties, to created mathematics, computers, and also software, chemicals. Even you can sometimes take pills to have more memory or that your memory doesn't go away, especially with aging. We tried also to enhance our perceptual capabilities to access things that we do not, that our biological sensors do not access in terms of bandwidth frequency. So that's why we have created night vision systems. And of course, we would like also to have any means that we can access to the brain of the people or their thought to be more precise. Also enhancing our physical capabilities. This is why we invented tools in agriculture and in many other things, and we have machines, vehicles, chemicals also. So I was thinking about people who do sport, okay, to have more strong in muscles. And in fact, what I think is that robotics and AI might gather almost all these things, okay, or these three components in one system. Then those are the sheds of robot augmentation trends, because we are speaking more about robotics and what we will be witnessing in the future, as all many talks that have been made previously by our colleagues, but also the future coming ones or the upcoming talks will speak more about how we use robots in a structural environment, how we can make robots learn, how we can make robots interact with humans, how we can have several societal services, and this is an image that shows one of the change in the trends of robotics, which is in manufacturing, where the robot goes from manufacturing automation to services and then came back to automation with a new way of doing automation, new way of the assembly, where you have these robots that are close by the persons, where we do not need to put any barrier to separate them. Well, there are other examples of augmentation, of human augmentation. Of course, I was thinking about exoskeletons. I'm not doing research particularly in this field, but I think it's a good idea, okay, in robotics, because for some applications like rehabilitation, I think it's okay. But thinking about exoskeleton to be like systems that can enhance or help people that are enabled to walk and to do any other tasks. In even some industries were thinking about using exoskeletons in the manufacturing. I don't think it's really a good idea, because this, the way they are designed offers a rigid cover, and if I can ask you, if you have one day chance to try this, you will see that you will not really wear them for a very long period of time until you will get rid of them, because you don't use them only for walking. You would like to sit, you would like to go to sleep, you would like to do many other things. And people seem to forget sometimes that physics fixes the games of the rule of whatever you want to do. And because of the allometry properties, you cannot basically do this system with an efficient, okay, energy ratio. So I will not speak more about it, but I just say, okay, that if the nature has come up with the biggest I mean, rigid exoskeleton living species as being known as this coconut crab, and you will not find any bigger one. Is that because there is some physical reasons for that? Well, robotics has tried keeping to do these kind of things, but now they change a little bit this into more soft exoskeletons. So another example of human augmentation is probably this, which came from MIT. I think is, I forget the name of my colleague who came up with this idea of using extranumerary robotic system to add more fingers, to add also more arm to the persons. I mean, it's just a robot you wear that allows you to have like 3 arms or more, 6 or 7 fingers. And the problem will come up about how can I control this after? Do I need an interface? But if you have created the systems, it means that you need your hands, so you cannot use your hands to interact or to enter anything, and the only way you can thought about or think plausibly about controlling these systems is probably by using thought-based control. But thought-based control has also been seen as a mean, okay, to also control robot in some situations where this time people do not have really the usage of their limbs, the natural limbs, and because of some disease or because of some accident, then they need a robotic system to replace here this missing limb. And since they cannot move their limbs, the only way sometimes that they can control things is by having, by trying to interface the control into their brain. So you can find these works in Nature, in paper, in Science also published a lot of interesting works here in DLR as well. Well, it's for me, if you look really at these systems, you will see that it's more of a laboratory product than a reality. Of course, you have very nice papers that shows that this is possible. So to apply for a larger person, please know that those are very invasive. It means that we put electrodes in your brain, okay? And not only they are invasive, but they are sometimes very funny because the persons, I mean, the people who designed this, they're trying to train the brain to work contra nature. Sorry. We use neurofeedback. What is neurofeedback? Is to train your system to generate a certain signal that you would like to use to control your robot. These robots are controlled by generating some increments of delta X, delta Y, delta Z, okay? And when you see the videos of this playing, you will see that the robot is really jerky, and we train people to control the operational space of the robot so that it brings you a food or it brings you a can. Whereas what you should do is to train a person, okay, to not generate these signals in the operational space of the robot, but in terms of the intention. Because if you know what the person would like, I would like to take a can and to drink it, the robot knows how to do it. We know how to program a robot to go to a can, grasp it. We have very good now perception systems that can do it and take the can, bring it to the person, and bring you the drink. If you know how to extract from the brain that what you would like is to get a can or is to get a particular task to be done, then it's easy to program the robot as part of you to take this. Is it really that easy? Not that much, okay? Because there is something which is lacking in the robotic research, is the understanding of what embodiment means. Or you will listen embodiment in many shades and ways, you will see many talks using this term. But the way I'm using it here is the fact that whatever of this system you will, of engineering or control engineering you will make to do these tasks, if the persons who are wearing this robot or who are trying to control this extra limb or this arm that will compensate for the link of a particular of its body is not trusty. If it doesn't trust on it, it will not work. Okay, the people who are doing FAST, for instance, stimulation, they said that on the paper the engineers has computed everything correctly and normally it should work. It should work only if the person trusts on it, and if the person will really gain not full trust, but also this mechanism which is not very well understood, because in robotics, when we control system by a person, we do telerobotics, teleoperation, telepresence, and we always stop at this transparency measure. and high fidelity feedback. But we have never asked ourselves at what moment the person will feel that the system that it is under its control, it's part of its body, or it's part of it. And this idea of having a system which is not yours biologically, which is being part of you, is central to make this kind of system work. So it is so central that, for instance, I was really impressed by the talk of Antonio Bicchi this morning, showing these hands, okay, worked by the person doing the task. And in fact, at the core of this, if the person is using this, it means that she reached the level for which she really thinks that this robotic hand is part of her body. It's her hand, basically. So, and for that, there are many people in neuroscience trying to understand this. Probably one of the best illustrations for this is the very known, this rubber hand illusion, where in fact you put a rubber hand and you cover it, you cover the real, from the vision, of course, from the field of vision, the other hand, and you will see it from this video. And then the person at some point is stimulating, okay, all this, I don't know why I don't have sound. Okay, and then you will see what happens in the video is that the person came to push the other hand, but in fact, the sensation that these hands is now part of you, I mean, there has been something in the brain, on the mechanism of the brain, that triggers the fact that this rubber hand, it's yours, basically, okay, and you have to retrieve it as in the same way. I mean, this person knows that this hand is not his hand, okay? He knows it's a rubber hand. So why, the question is, why did he remove, actually, his hand is the real hand? So for me, the embodiment of robotic or in robotic, of robotic systems or in robotics is really a science to start. I don't have a deep knowledge of it. We started to investigate this. Unfortunately, when you see how people assess the embodiment of other limbs or of robotic systems, generally they only use questionnaires, and what we need in robotic is rather a tangible measure of what this mechanism or what this feeling means. Okay, if you want to use it in the control, for instance, if you want to use a prosthesis, you would like to sustain, okay, this feeling that this is part of you, then you would like a tangible measure so that you can design controllers that are increasing and sustaining this feeling. Good. So years ago, I started the European project with Mel Slatter and people, Metzinger, also philosopher, neuroscientist, about this scheme, this idea of can I control a robot, okay, while I am lying and I am immersed, okay, in a system which is, let's say, a telepresence system for a lying person, and trying to control this robot by thought. It means, how can I control a system by just thinking about what I want to do and beaming my whole body in a humanoid robot? So, can I go even beyond beaming? Can I have a clone of a human robot? I know that many of you don't like science fiction. I like science fiction, especially those movies where you have a humanoid robot somehow. Okay, they are funny, really. And I really liked to see this movie of Surrogate Avatar, especially that because of the same year, right after the very project started, this movie came in this order. So I will not show about all what these movies are about, but this one is really interesting, and I would like to submit to you this movie, but I need sound, because without the sound... So I will just start it from the beginning, because I will not speak, but please read everything, because I shrinked it so that I have time to say. I don't know how many have seen this movie, actually. No one? Ah, okay, sorry.
Michael, please take it slow. This will be very disorientating for a human. Do you have pain?
The first question is, do you have pain?
I'm alive. I don't know what this means.
Okay, I will stop here, and I know that now part of the audience says, okay, this guy is crazy. The other one, he said, okay, he's fantasist, and he's just thinking about this. The others might, and all of your questions are, of course, legitimate. But you have two ways also of handling this kind of situation. We can say, I'm an engineer, I'm a scientist, and I will see or collect all the points where the scenarist from Hollywood has made a mistake. Okay, and I will number them, and there are so many that I cannot spend time to tell them. The other question I might say is, what is the breakthrough to achieve this? I mean, is it really that fantasist as a scenario? 3 minutes. I will then...
Et on fera des postes récepteurs de télévision bijoux, comme il y a des postes de TSF bijoux. Des postes de poche, grands comme une lampe électrique.
I would like you to
Plus
know
besoin d'acheter un
the
journal,
date
on se
of this
branchera
movie.
sur l'émission d'information,
Okay.
ou sur
It's
l'éditorial
in
politique, ou sur la chronique de mode,
1947. It means 20
Ou sur le
years
compte rendu
before I was
sportif.
born.
voire même sur un
And
problème de mots croisés.
Look if you are
Et la rue
recognizing any
présentera un
situation of what
singulier
you are living
spectacle.
today or not.
Naturellement, dans le métro, on lira le poste du voisin par-dessus son épaule. Et il y aura des faits divers tellement passionnants que... Et la petite provinciale romantique n'aura pas besoin de venir à Paris pour y rencontrer son idole.
Years from now,
Elle l'aura sur sa
that this
table de
movie
nuit.
has appeared. It's a reportage, okay, in France. And it's available to download because the reportage is longer, and you will be shocked how the prevision of this scenarist was correct. So now, let me just go very quickly because I don't have much time. So what do we have as bodies if we want to do this movie or this scenario that I have just mentioned? So you will see that we have humanoid robots that are advancing in technology year after year, okay? And we do have catalyzer application that will make this technology readily available. It means with the capability, probably with the dexterity of a person. Now, if I have to clone my face, I think all of you know pretty well this. Okay?
We're always
So
just
the first one are just bodies that work real, but they looks at robots. Those one is just clones of people. Like Ishiguro confessed that he is doing plastic surgery to still resemble his clone robot that he designed like 10 years ago or even more. So we do have also a very nice telerobotics still existent that could transfer the skill of the people, but of course, you know all this. It means just to tell you that, in fact, this issue of embodiment and rubber hand illusion has been also considered in robotics if you consider the telepresence issues, okay? And that you move with the robot, you perceive the things, etc. So I will also skip this and speak about the schematic idea of transferring brain knowledge into CPUs and like biological systems into robots. And three main results that we have achieved with starting preliminary investigation into this issue. So does the shape matters? Okay, in this paper, you will see that, in fact, no, that the shapes that to own a body, okay, or to have this feeling that this is something is a part of you doesn't require that it resembles you. Because I don't have time, I will go very quickly on this. So also, are we capable of reproducing some situations that are found in pathological cases, like what it means to be me? If I look at myself in the mirror, can I be disrupted? And in fact, what you will see in this paper is that the answers of the people are fuzzy. If you ask them, are you located here and there? Or are you here? Or is this body you or not? And you can go through the paper for the details, but what I can say you is that, it's not a clear answer that, no, it's just a robot, it's not me, I am here, it's not there. After this embodiment is triggered, people are having fuzzy answers to these questions. More than that, like if we have done experiment where you don't have any haptic feedback at all at the persons, but just after embodied this humanoids robot and did some experiment like touching things, we even experienced sensations of tickling on the hands, okay, that occurs exactly at the same position when we removed here intentionally the fingers of the gripper, okay, and we touch with this part only the curtains and asking people, did you feel anything? Yeah, people felt like tickling. You don't have any haptic device that can reproduce this. So, of course, what I'm saying is to be taken with extra care, just because in neuroscience, the exception confirms the rule, whereas in engineering, okay, it invalidates it. I mean, not all the people responded positively at all these questions, obviously. So the only last part, okay, that I have, it's my last slide, is whether we can have a transfer of experience of what you live daily into a system that can reproduce them later on. Well, I think that here comes the artificial intelligence, and I'm capable now, when I have a student applying just to go to Instagram, to his social network, and I can know, basically, his preferences, his life, where he was, and if I ask you, what did you do yesterday, I don't think you can record the full movie of what you did, but you have kept some particular milestones that are of your interest, and you kept them in the memory. You can tell me that, yeah, we had a very nice dinner yesterday with Sami. I remember the restaurant. I remember the food was excellent. I remember also the wine. The white wine was better than the French one. Yes, I agree. I remember the mark, but I didn't recall everything. I'm not capable of playing the movie of all of this. So, which means that AI can, in my opinion, can predict what your preference or probably what your action will be if it knows your living experience or if your living experience is stored somehow. That's all. Thank you very much.